Deuteronomy 33:29. Happy art thou, O Israel, who was like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, and who was the sword of thy excellency. And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth among the heathen that look like those heathen, the Israelite foreigners. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And there's a couple videos that were shared with me. Elder Uriah of the Chicago camp shared a couple with me about the Samson option. All right, so I went and looked these up on YouTube. I mean, not on YouTube, but on TikTok. So I'm trying to get to it. So Salakia. And basically, I'm going to let these people speak. I'm going to let them say exactly what it is. And then I'll make the corrections. Here we go. TikTok was not being very... let me turn the sound up. There we go. You know, when these phones get older, they start acting up because they put viruses and things in them on purpose to, you know, because they want you to update and go to the new version and this, that, and the other. That's why they get slower and stuff like that. Every time you hit an update, you actually load viruses into your phone, and so your phone just dies over time. What is it called? Purposeful obsolescence, to make things become obsolete, so that you have to just keep buying or replacing parts. But without any further ado, the Samson option in Israel. So let's listen.
Do you know about the Samson option in Israel? Samson refers to an Israelite in Bible stories who was a big, strong man who was taken captive by Philistines. In the story, he took down the pillars of the temple he was in, killing himself and all of the Philistines in the temple. A lot of people don't realize that Israel has nuclear weapons. So the Samson option is what military strategists have been calling it, this implied threat that Israel has in its back pocket if ever some force came in and was threatening Israel to that extent, they would just take down the whole temple. This has a similar strategic effect as the mutual assured destruction during the Cold War that the Soviet Union and the United States would blow each other up if either struck first. So the implied threat here isn't really for Palestine because Hamas is never going to take out Israel. Be so freaking serious right now. That is never going to happen. Look at Israel's military. Just go look at it. Go look at Israel's military. Their draft, their technology. It's not going to happen.
So we'll just leave it at that, and I'll go to the next one, because now he's just giving an opinion, because Israel just sustained 40,000 injuries. They got 40,000 injured soldiers from just dealing with the Hamas. They haven't even faced Hezbollah, and that's next. All right, so no. But none of that's going to matter, because Israel's not going to get a chance to destroy themselves and everyone else that's around them, because that's not prophecy. What is prophecy is that Israel is going to be wiped off the map, because the people of Israel are not the people of Israel. They are not the Israelites. All right. And we're going to prove that thoroughly with scripture. All right. So let's go to the next. Video speaking on the same thing, the Samson option.
When I was in the Army, there's this expression, hey, I need you to break this down to me, Barney style. I need you to break this down to me like I'm 5 years old. So this is a 5-year-old explanation of what the Samson option is. The Samson option refers to an alleged secret defense strategy of Israel to launch nuclear weapons if the country faces imminent destruction. The name comes from the biblical story of Samson, an Israeli military leader who was captured by the Philistines. As he gathered his enemies.
Samson was not a military leader. However, he was a judge in Israel that brought judgment to the enemy.
In a temple to celebrate, Samson pushed the pillars and collapsed the temple, killing his captors along with himself. While Israel has never publicly confirmed they would use nuclear weapons this way, the Samson Option suggests Israel would deploy them as a last resort if the country was being overrun and their very existence of the Jewish state was at stake. The idea is that facing impending defeat, Israel would use nukes to not only destroy its enemies, but to obliterate itself in the process. Like Samson.
So the thing is that these people, these cowards, do not want to be a victim of the violence and the things that they've done unto the people that are around them, especially the Palestinians. So their thing is that, well, if it gets that bad, if it comes to that, which is definitely coming to that, anyone with eyes could see if you're keeping up with current events, they would blow up the Palestinians, everyone around them, and themselves. Well, that's not going to happen. But the fact that they even have that mindset, the fact that they're being attacked, the fact that they're at war is evidence that they're not the people. I mean, I've already proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the script of Hebrew that they use the Assyrian script, is evidence of their fraud. The house of Judah never used the Assyrian script, all right? And they claim that they've always known who they are. They got receipts to their heritage. Then why are you writing in a form of Hebrew that the northern kingdom was subjected to when the northern kingdom was in captivity, all right? So that is just so many ways to cut this pie, and every time you cut the pie, it's a new slice of a lie, all right? And that has to make you go and question yourself to this. I mean, to bring question or bring this scripture up here, back in Deuteronomy 33 and this time 28, and it says, Israel shall dwell in safety alone. The fountain of Jacob shall be upon the land of corn and wine. Also his heavens shall drop down dew. So when Israel goes back to the land of Israel, they will dwell in peace and safety alone, with all the riches of the whole world at their beckoning, with corn and wine. They wouldn't be a welfare state. They wouldn't need a military. The scripture says when they go home that all weapons will be burned up and destroyed. These people do not fit prophecy. That's why I open with the scripture that I opened with, because they have been found to be liars. The internet and the airwaves are not their friends. All right?
A little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now immigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, so they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Yafet. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin,
which is a lie. All right, he tried to give you some excuse about it. Was shortened up from a Russian name, but the name Brown and the name Black were referring to descriptions. That's how those names came to be. All right, that's where you get the in the Latin, the Spanish, the Italian, you get Moreno, Marino. Those are all talking about dark people. All right, you wouldn't be called Douglas the Black and your skin was not black. Remember King James' grandson, Charles II, who was beheaded by Oliver Cromwell, okay, which is the royal family, the true royal line of Britain. His nickname was Black Boy, all right? So Black Boy, Brown Boy, so, and this is what Esau does right here. When he tells you the truth, he also tells you a lie, okay? Which is why this internet is going to have to be shut down. This is Psalms 19:1, and it reads, The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. All right. So these messages get broadcast into the atmosphere, and that's how the truth is being declared. All right. And these people are being found to be liars. Like, Dr. Quaz Brown here, because Apostle Tahar pointed that out, how, Dr. Brown here, in the word doctor, matter of fact, let's get that. He's a physician of no value. All right. But let's get Job 13:4 real quick. It says, but ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. So he told you the truth of how the Khazarian mafia, who are the Jewish people, who are the Edomites, Amalek, vocab Malone, all right, they indeed are Amalek, how they just picked the name Ashkenaz because they were in Germany, all right, and it just so happens that was the land that Japheth's sons dwelled in, and that was just another thing to throw them off, to throw people off the trail, right? Because Ashkenaz was not a son of Shem, therefore anyone of the line of Ashkenaz cannot be Shemitic or a Semite, as they like to say, which is another made-up word to control the narrative, all right? But these people have been found to be liars. So let's go to this guy now. And I want you to take a real good close look at this map before you start spurting all his lies. What you're looking at is Australia. Yeah, you're looking at the whole continent of Asia. As you can see, Asia, and they labeled this part Europe, they labeled this part the Middle East, but it's all Asia. I think ancient Turkey was Asia Minor or Anatolia. This part right here, where Iran was Mesopotamia, and I forget what this was called, the Levant. All right, that whole area right there, what I'm pointing to. Okay, but if you see the whole of the continent, all right, the whole of the continent, and then there's your Bering Strait over there, and here's the West. All right. But when you look at this ginormous continent of Asia, that's why Asia is the biggest continent. Africa is a lot bigger than that. They've made it narrow, but Africa is huge, a lot wider than that, actually. Well, his head is actually in the way of some of it. But the point being that you can see with your own eyes that there is, because he's going to identify this as Europe. That's just what they decided to call it. All right. So regardless of whatever the name that they use, hold on, I touched it and started it. But regardless of the name that they use, all right, you can clearly see, all right, that this is all one continent. It's just like when you look at America, you got the Great Lakes that sit right in the middle, all right. You got these they call them oceans, all right, right here, but they're sitting right in the middle of this one landmass, and which is a little bitty dividing tectonic plate right here, which divides Europe from Asia, all right. And so all these, Europe from Asia from Africa, all right. That word Europe, but nevertheless, you can see that the whole of Africa was a dark continent. It tells you that when you get the definition of Ham, and that Ham's son Canaan was all here in Asia Minor, all throughout this area here of the Levant, the Canaanites, who were also Hamites. And remember the curse of Ham. It's funny how Christians and Christianity, in Judaism, they try to separate Canaan's the children who the Philistines from their father Ham, as if they were not Hamitic, if they were not what you would call Africans today. So these people are just being found liars. So I just wanted to point that out, because this is a pretty good map to show you the connection, of the land. All right. So once again, Africa and the whole of Asia, there is no separation between Europe and Asia, because Europe is a part of Asia. That's why they say Eurasia. All right. No, it's all Asia. They just decided to name it Europe so that when they created these false narratives of white superiority and all that sort of thing. All right, that whole white and Caucasian thing. Okay, because the Caucasus Mountains, which will sit right about here, and I'm gonna let this video play. The Caucasus Mountains sit right about there. Okay, well I'm pointing at. All right, but the Edomites, that they got forced into the Caucasus Mountains after the fall of Rome. They actually came from down here, from Mount Seir, which is just below the land of Israel. That's their original home. So the continent has nothing to do, the color has nothing to do with how far you are from the equator and all that. The Lord set up that everybody in the world was melanated, including the people of Europe. All right, the people that were dwelling in this area were the sons of Japhet as well, and they were all melanated people, the Greeks and all that. All right, it wasn't until Alexander of Macedon came in there and the Edomites went up into Europe and conquered every damn thing. And now, they came up with that lie to try to cover up who they are. It's all been a lie. But here we go.
There was a revolution in Russia, 1914. 3 years later, the Khazarians out of Ukraine, where am I at here? Out of the Ukraine, the Khazarian mafia out of the Ukraine took over the Russian Revolution through several of their agents, including Vladimir Lenin. Okay, so when that happened the revolution happened in 1914. For 3 years, they held the Tsar and his family captive. And we're in the process of rebuilding the Federation of Russia at that time. This is 1914. From 1914 to 1917, even in the midst of that revolution, even in the midst of the Russian Revolution, the very, very heart of it all going down, Russia had the most effective agriculture system on this planet. Russia fed most of Western Europe and a great deal of Africa and Asia. Russia was the breadbasket for the planet. It was the most efficient production system we've ever seen for food. It has never been equaled on a calorie in to calorie out basis, okay? And in 1917, the Khazarian mafia got really, really, really pissed, and they moved out of Ukraine. And they went into Russia, and they called themselves Bolsheviks, and they took over the Russian Revolution, and they destroyed that food system, and all of the people, 2 million plus people on the outskirts, and 12 million people in the greater Khazarian area, Ukraine and so on, 14. And Kazakhstan and all of this. 12 million people in there died from starvation. It was twice the claimed death rate for people killed by Hitler. And you don't ever hear anybody talking about it because it was the Khazarian mafia.
Yeah, you don't hear people talking about it because the claimed victim, I refer to them as the villain victims. They were responsible for those 14 million deaths, and then claim, like he said,
the Ukrainians taking over and doing their fish here that caused this. Here's something you need to know about the Khazarians, okay? The Khazarian Empire extended from this area here, went through, let me get a marker here, see if this will work. Okay, so this is the former of Broad. Nah, that's not going to do it. Anyway, so
as you see in that close-up, all right, the continent of Europe, which includes the continent of Asia, which includes Europe or Eurasia, and what they fraudulently call the Middle East, is all one continent. The so-called Middle East was Asia Minor or Western Asia. All right, that's what it was called, Western Asia. Okay, so by them, they basically they speak on it as if it's three different continents, but you see, it's all one continent. Just really want to keep pointing and driving that point home.
We have here, there we go, better. We have a Khazarian Empire that at one point went over, there we go, into the northern part of India. And we know this, that in spite of the formalities that said that the old Khazarian Empire ended in this area here, we know it extended over as far as this boundary here, because there are persistent historical, not myths. They do have some aspects of legend, but they're inculcated into our expressions in all of our languages. So even in Chinese, so in China, there is this, the cultural work for the Chinese is called The Journey to the West. Really, it's a cool book. Jackie Chan's made several movies about the central characters in that book. All Westerners should read it if you want to understand the Chinese mind. It doesn't aid you understanding the CCP and those people, but it does aid you in understanding the cultural milieu in which China has arisen to the modern state here. Okay, but even in Journey to the West, there are aspects to this little story here. The Chinese had this phrase, this expression that you had to watch out for, the name stealers.
There it is. All right. You had to watch out for the name stealers. Ezekiel 36:5. And this is prophecy of what Amalek, what Edom would do to get the land of Israel. All right. Which Vocab Malone and all the Christians and Zionists, they don't speak about this or talk about it at all. But Ezekiel 36:5 reads, "Therefore thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession." What land? The Holy Land. This over here. All right. They appointed this land into their possession. All right. With all despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. It tells you in the book of Joel that they took the land and they parted it. It's parted among who? Amalek and Ishmael. You have two people in the Holy Land that don't belong there, and now they're fighting over it. And neither of those people belong there. And the revealing of the cast covering over all people. Let's get that and we'll close with that. You know, Esau threw a cast over all people, changing the name changers. All right. Isaiah 49:11. Not Isaiah, but Psalms 49:11. Then I'll get that. Psalms 49:11. I think it's Isaiah 20. My mind is faster than my tongue. But yeah, this is Psalms 49:11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. They changed all the names, removed all the boundaries and marks, changed the names of all the people. Who did this? Esau, Edom did that. All right. And the head of Esau, Edom, the first of the nations, is Amalek. All right. Amalek is the first of the nations, and they basically left. They hijacked, hogged the blessing from the rest of the Edomites, which is why there's so much division among the house of Edom today. All right. Because you have Edomites who have known this all along. All right. And now you got the rest of the Edomites that are waking up to it, and they're angry. They're not mad that they're losing and the country is degrading. And what they're really, really mad about is the fact that they didn't get to enjoy the fruits of the world the same as the Jewish, the other Edomites. That's why you have so much hatred of white people toward Jewish people who are the same people. All right? They just didn't share in the blessing. All right, but this is 26 or 27. 25:7. There it is. And it reads, Isaiah 25:7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. So Esau, Edom has been exposed, and that veil of who everyone is biblically it's been shown. All right. And this the Samson option is, you know, that's in Esau's heart. He does have that mindset that, well, if I can't have it, no one can. And that's what he's actually doing to the earth, if you're paying attention. In the short period of time, the 500 years, so years that they've been in control, they've destroyed the air, the water, and the food. All right. And now they're destroying the minds and the bodies of the people. All right. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, all honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom.